here is Chen Mazzig, Senior Fellow at the Tel Aviv Institute, and he joins us from London. Chen, thank you so much. So this BBC coverage obviously sparking much reaction in recent weeks for a range of reasons as well, not least of which is that it doesn't call Hamas gunmen who butcher civilians in their homes or at a music festival terrorists. So given that, how surprising is this latest factually incorrect reporting?
I mean, it's surprising and it's shocking, but in the same time, it shouldn't surprise us. From even before the war broke, the BBC had a clear anti-Israel bent, which they never hide. It started with reporting inflated numbers from Hamas of casualties. They reported from the Gaza Health Ministry. When they got a pushback, they changed it to the UN. If I can give just a few examples, in October 17th, El Hali Hospital, the explosion that happened there, they immediately reported it was Israel, claimed that there were hundreds of casualties, and when German intelligence said no, it was a Palestinian rocket, they changed the number to 12. Last week, Jeremy Bowen reported that the Israeli army is shooting Gazans that are trying to escape south. We know that there were no Israeli soldiers south of Gaza City, and they still reported it. And the same Jeremy Bowen in May 2021 reported that Israel was actually bombing Beit Hanun when we knew that the incident was actually a Palestinian rocket that was exploding there. Or the protests in London, where they say that the protests for Palestine are very peaceful, and the police is reporting that hundreds of people are being arrested for violence. I mean, they're completely ignoring and mischaracterizing the truth, and they have a real responsibility. It shouldn't surprise us, but it's very shocking.
In this latest incident, the BBC saying this error falls below its usual editorial standards, but as you are outlining, perhaps it's exactly on point. Emotions, though, are high on all sides. So how damaging is a misquote like this so far into a war? Emotions are so high on all sides.
We need to look at the result for some of those protests and the violence that we're seeing around the world against the Jewish community, and how anti-Semitism has increased throughout the world since the war broke. There's a direct correlation between the reporting, the biased reporting, and the lies that are being spread by the BBC, and how Jews are being targeted and attacked and even killed. We saw last week in California by anti-Israel protesters that are being, as you said, emotions run high, but we have no protection from the violence that the words of the BBC reporters and international media is sparking against Jews around the world. I can tell you, I feel unsafe in London, and I do hold the BBC specifically responsible, and there is no amount of apology that can bring back the lives of people that have been taken because of the reporting or the violence that we've seen and the unsafety of so many Jews in Britain and around the world, specifically because this public organization that's supposed to be partial and neutral has been failing us and failing reporting and fair reporting, and they are the ones that we look to get credible, or at least people are looking for to get credible information, but they don't get it, and in fact they're getting the exact opposite, and we are the ones that are paying the price.
We just heard that apology that was played. Is that where this saga ends, so to speak, or is there some kind of action that can be taken against the BBC in this case?
Yeah, the apology came because many of us called them out online. And I think that's super important that we continue doing that. We must hold them accountable, because if we don't do that, they will not even release an apology. We have to continue calling out the BBC. And I hope that I've been in touch with many people that are authorities here in the UK that I know are trying to do everything they can. I hear also from within the BBC, from some of my contacts, that there's a lot of anger from Jewish staff that are not happy, to say the least, with the biased reporting and the lies that are being spread by the BBC. I think we have to hold them accountable. We have a responsibility to do it, and if we do it, we will actually be able to make a difference within the BBC. But I haven't gone on BBC since the war started, and I used to go there quite often to be interviewed, because I don't want to legitimize them. I think the Israeli side has to not legitimize them, not to give them information, and until they adhere to the standards, the journalistic standards that they definitely don't adhere to at the moment.
And Chen, we know the Board of Deputies of British Jews stated it was absolutely appalled by the BBC's reporting, but give us a sense of the reaction from other organizations and other communities as well to this kind of reporting. It's not from a campus radio station, it's from the BBC.
Absolutely. And I know that many organizations from the UK, like the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, the Tel Aviv Institute, where I work at, or the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting in America, have all came together and called out the biased reporting and challenged the BBC. We continue doing it, but it seems like we're falling on deaf ears. And the only time that they would release an apology is after something as major as claiming that the Israeli army is targeting Arab speakers and medical staff. Just to think that happened in a studio with many producers and editors, and an anchor actually felt that it was the right thing to say that Israel is targeting medical staff and Arab speakers. This has been part of what the BBC has been doing for so long, to frame this conflict in a way that Israel and Hamas are the same, that they have the same moral values, although Hamas have done some of the most brutal and barbaric acts from the get-go. I think that the BBC has been trying to frame it in this way, and that's why they are so quick to shout out any information they have that can frame Israel as the aggressor. So we have to call it out. We have to hold them accountable. And again, it's not just staying in the BBC studio or in the millions of homes that they are broadcasting to. It goes out to the streets, and that's where we fear. That's where we see synagogues being attacked. That's where we're seeing Jews being violently. Here in the UK, a synagogue that just on Saturday was almost torched down by protesters that stood outside and did not let Jews leaving the synagogue go safely without shouting at them. All of this is a direct result of this reporting, direct result of this libelous anti-Semitic ideas that the BBC has been spreading for years. And until we hold them accountable, that's why I think it's so important to stress that the BBC must be held accountable. We all have to call them out. And I know Jewish organizations are doing it. And I want to just say we have to keep doing that. We have to call them out because if we want, they will not stop lying, and they will not even apologize for those lies.
A disturbing situation indeed. Always appreciate your insights. Thank you so much. Chen Mazzig, Senior Fellow at the Tel Aviv Institute, live from London. Thank you very much, and take care of yourself there. Be safe.
Thank you.